So after you've got an agenda in place, what if there is an issue? What if you did your homework, you did cheat, you found out that they're upset about X, Y, Z? Well, what's going to happen? Or if it comes up and you were blindsided, how do you deal with that? Well, the International Quality and Productivity Center recommends has established 5 different approaches to resolving conflict, because if it happens, you do have to deal with it, of course. And so send me a chat. Let me know who can identify the 2 approaches listed here that really are not recommended. And then send me a chat if you can identify the 3 that are better approaches in dealing with conflict management. Yeah, this was a softball. This was a gimme if you're looking at the slide, because I've got it separated. And you don't want to avoid things. You've probably gotten a sense already from the recommended agendas that it's all about being upfront and communicative about the status of things. So don't avoid the conflict. If it's there, deal with it, and don't get into, a competitive situation. The 3 recommended approaches are: accommodation means one side or the other is basically going to accept that it's either over budget or delayed or whatever the situation may be. But often it's wonderful if you can get to an approach where there's compromise on both sides, or really in the end, if you can have a collaborative type of discussion where both sides work towards a solution together, that is the best approach. But again, that's not what you want to be doing during the client update meeting. If a disagreement or a challenge comes up, what we recommend first is actually to take a break. Stop, slow down, because emotion can often run high when the issue is up on the agenda, or it breaks into the agenda. Say, you know what, let's take a break right here, gather our thoughts, and then come back and we'll address this. It may need only be a 5-minute approach, but you'll be amazed at how well that works. The number 1 task during the client update meeting is simply to find out what the scope of the problem is, because often there's a misunderstanding on one side or both sides. So identify what the scope is and then stop again. Later, in a different meeting, not this client update meeting, because you'll likely need other people, the right people in the proper format to go through what are possible solutions. So do that offline, identify what other resources might be needed, and it's at that point that you can then move toward a root cause analysis and fix. What this does is get you out of the finger-pointing arena and back into a solution-oriented mentality. Lastly, I want to talk about documenting your meeting. It's so easy to record meetings, even if they're in person and live. Simply call into your conferencing system. You can record it easily that way. When you take notes of the meeting, be sure everyone can see it, whether it's live and in a meeting, put that up on a projector, or if it's a virtual meeting like we'll talk about in a second, then have those notes shared. Be sure to include the date and attendees and the agenda and discussion points. You'd be amazed how many times we've been in meetings only to ask afterwards, well, was so-and-so there? And no one can remember, and it wasn't in the notes. Kind of a basic thing.